Get ready with me when I relive when I peed my pants in school in front of the whole class and my personality changed forever. If you're new here, I'm MJ. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like to follow the status quo. I don't like being told dinners need to take an hour. So, here's where the rebellion all started. So I say I'm not a rule follower, but that wasn't always the case. Growing up, I was the girl who wanted to get the gold star. That annoying girl who always did everything she was supposed to, always obeyed the grown-ups because my parents told me to. And they told me grown-ups knew better, so I trusted them. Yeah, that was just me. I don't know. It's weird. I was the definition of goody two-shoes, although I didn't understand why it was a bad thing. I was that girl. Later, I found out I'm actually on the autism spectrum, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. So imagine this cute little red hair girl, smiley. I love school. Love school so much. I love schoolwork. I loved people. I loved recess. I loved math. I loved everything about school. I even loved all my teachers, even though some of them were very, very strict. I was obedient, so my teachers usually liked me. Well, preschool and kindergarten, but this was first grade. I guess I was a big kid now. Mrs. Ledlow, she must have been 50 years old, and she was strict. But, I didn't mind. My parents were strict. I knew how to obey. I didn't realize she didn't like me until I became an adult. As it happened, one random day, 6-year-old little Missy, 1989, maybe midway through the school year, we were learning our lesson all sitting at our desks. And like always, you have to go to the bathroom. So you raised your hand and asked to go. So I raised my hand. The teacher looked at me and then looked at another kid who had their hand raised to go to the bathroom. And she let the other kid go. Only one kid could go to the bathroom at one time. So I just waited patiently. I sat there with my hand raised. The other kid came back. He sat down and looked at me and shrugged as I'm sitting there with my hand raised. So when you're little, you can't really hold your potty very long. Like when you gotta go, you gotta go. But I was gonna be obedient. Mrs. Ledlow kept teaching her lesson and I kept listening with my hands up. She would look at me with my hand raised and make eye contact and then look away and just keep teaching. So another 5 minutes go by. I would never even speak unless called to. That's how obedient I was. But my friends that they would start saying, Mrs. Ledlow, I think Missy has to go potty. And she would look at me and then not address me at all and then go back to teaching. I was the only kid in the class of 20 with her hand up. And it was starting to burn. I really, really had to go. But I was going to be obedient because that's what I did. I obeyed rules. I told myself maybe there's a reason she doesn't want me to go to the bathroom. She's a grown-up. Maybe she knows things that I don't. She let the other kid go, so why didn't she let me go? The other kid was a boy, so maybe the girl's bathroom was being cleaned. I don't know. But it was getting really bad. I had been holding it for like 15 minutes. I was legit holding my crotch and all the kids kept saying, Mrs. Ledlow, Missy has a question. Mrs. Ledlow, I think Missy needs to go really, really bad. But still, she would look at me and say nothing and just look away. Like I did not understand what was going on, but I continued to sit there and be obedient. After 20 minutes, I couldn't hold it any longer. While sitting in the middle in front of the class, I started to pee myself. I could feel the puddle in my chair starting to fill up. It was horrible. It was warm. It was disgusting. Now, I'd never peed my pants in my life. And when you're little and once you start to go, you just can't stop. Yeah, it just kept going. I tried to stop, but I just kept peeing. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't stand up and run to the bathroom because I was already soaking wet in my pants and everybody would see that I was soaking wet. Plus I was still going and that would mean I would be peeing all the way running across the floor, all the way there. I turned beet red and all the kids stopped and stared at me. My chair was legit filled up with pee and it was starting to overflow and go on the ground. The kids all around me started staring at me and standing up, like trying to get away from it, like ew, gross, like any kid would. I was frozen. I was completely mortified. If I stood up, my pants were soaked. If I stayed seated, I just sat in my own pee. My hand was literally still up, waiting for the teacher to call on me. in a pool of my own pee. Mrs. Ledlow looked at me. She looked down at my soaking wet carpet and back up at me and back to the class. She said nothing still. She stopped teaching and just stared. The entire class went silent, staring at me. Finally, the boy behind me, Levi, who I had a crush on, first grade crush is very important, said, "Mrs. Ledlow, can I go get some paper towels to help clean it up?" Mortified, "Ew, how gross." She says yes, so he runs and gets paper towels from the bathroom. Same bathroom I wasn't allowed to go to. Whatever. He comes back with a giant armful of paper towels and put them on the ground and steps on them in an attempt to clean up my giant pee mess. I was still just sitting there in my own pee in my own seat, and I started to cry. I was so embarrassed. I was so mortified, so confused. She was a grown-up. She was supposed to be looking out for me. She was supposed to be helping me, but she didn't seem to care. I was so confused. All my life, I was taught to obey grown-ups. But then at the same time, I started asking myself, why didn't I just get up and go to the bathroom? Why didn't I just walk to the bathroom myself? Why did I sit there, destroy my pants, destroy the carpet, destroy my entire self-esteem to obey some woman who obviously didn't care? All these thoughts are running through my brain. As I sat there in my own warm pee, my personality flipped. I had a total paradigm shift. I was a pretty bright 6-year-old. I always helped my parents. I always got straight A's. But in this moment, I reassessed my entire future. Why did I just obey any and every grown-up? Maybe they didn't always have my best interest at heart. Maybe not all rules are good rules. Maybe not all rules are helpful. Maybe not all grown-ups care about you like you think they do. Mrs. Ledlow never even apologized. I remember when my mom came and picked me up, she told my mom, "Oh, Missy had an accident." I was like, "What? I didn't have an accident." Yes, it was an accident, but she wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. I was trying to tell my mom this, and she said, "Well, maybe she had a reason." And it clicked, and I was like, that's where I got that. Oh my gosh, this is wrong thinking. So, 1989, the year I decided to make my own decisions. Now, granted, I did not become a total rebel, but I decided I was only going to obey rules that made sense. And turns out, not many rules do. So here, 36 years later, at the ripe old age of 42, thinking about Miss Ledlow, she's probably passed away now. She wasn't a great teacher, But, even though she wasn't a great teacher, even though I thought she was back then, I actually learned more from her than I did from any other teacher. Obviously, she changed my life more than any other teacher. Now, this huge personality shift for a little first grader was a huge blessing because, a whole nother story, when the babysitter boy came over to babysit us and locked me in a bedroom with him and locked my older brother out and told me that he was going to show me how babies were made, as he started to unbutton his pants, Rebel Missy started to come alive. His name is Kevin. I screamed bloody murder, banged on the door until my brother on the other side came and started banging too to let me out. That's a whole nother story, but one that would have a way different ending if I hadn't peed my pants in first grade. And then in 9th grade, my parents joined a cult. Well, it didn't seem like a cult. It seemed like a nice Christian church. It wasn't. As we got into it, I didn't agree with their teachings or practices or women being silent and head coverings, all that. I got disowned and ended up emancipating in 11th grade to go live with my aunt who lived 2 hours away. Now that was a huge blessing because in that new city, at the gym, in 12th grade, I met my now husband. My parents later left the cult, but I am so grateful for the strength that I got from peeing my pants. So thank you, Mrs. Ledlow. I don't know what kind of power trip you were on that day. You may have hated me because I was a goody two-shoes. Or maybe you were just having a bad day. But letting me pee my pants in front of the whole class made me the woman that I am today. And I am forever grateful. So I hope that helps anyone going through hard times. Diamonds are made under pressure. Stay strong and rise up. You're becoming something amazing.